So, in today's lecture, we're going to talk about how to write reality. And most people just read their reality, and that's why they keep on looping the same stuff. They are never surprised. Maybe you feel like that. You know exactly how the job interview is going to go. You know exactly why your business is not succeeding, even though you would like it to succeed. You know exactly why all of your relationships went south, or whatever it is for you. It can also be good stuff. But I'm telling you in this video, it's because of the self-writing book complex. It's a term that I use about manifestation and how to create reality. And in this video, I'm going to draw it on the iPad for you. We're not going to use the whiteboard today. I will draw for you how to actually start manifesting your desired reality, how to change your life. This is also what I do with my clients. I help them write a story that they are satisfied with. And it's actually that easy reality creation is. It is writing a story and then fulfilling that promise that you write by acting like it, by speaking like it. And I'll be more specific. And I encourage you to give me a few minutes to tell you this story about the self-writing book complex. It's very interesting. All right? This is the beginning of a series where I teach you how to manifest everything you want. So subscribe to the channel. I will post every day. I think it will be 7 or 8 videos in this series, and it will give you a complete overview on how to create reality. Okay? Let's start talking about your story, the story you live right now, so that you understand why that's actually not something fixed, but something you can change. Then let's talk about the self-writing book complex. And then at the end, let me give you specific guidelines and protocols to implement in your life today so that you can start writing your own life. All right? Let's begin. Let's jump on the iPad. So first day I realized this was reading a paragraph that said something along the lines of nothing will ever happen unless it was first written in the book. Right? And that sentence really got me thinking, everything that is happening to me is not surprising. I'm never surprised by the events in my life. And why is that? Why is it that I can totally anticipate everything that's going to happen? It's because it's always my internal world that actually creates my external world. Right? And that is point number 1, your story. Let's talk about it. It's actually also what is on the whiteboard right now. So this is not your story. And at the same time, always your story. What story, do you ask? Well, the story of you. And this is you when you were born, right? And parents gave you a lot to believe, right? Your name, right? They gave you maybe doubt. They also gave you a lot of positive stuff. But what happened is that you actually just accepted your name with your awareness. The thing that was you when you were born was just awareness. You were aware of being, but you had not yet attached any labels to yourself, right? You've heard me say that before. But this will come in a new package, so please listen. Then you accepted doubt, and you maybe also accepted that you were a tea drinker, right? Well, obviously you are a coffee drinker like me. And you kept on accepting stuff that was not really you, right? Sorry for saying this to all my English viewers, or especially people in the UK. I think that is where the big amount of tea drinkers are. But you just accepted a lie, right? Any label, and you started living that story, right? And awareness solidifies labels as physical reality. So everything you look at is the outpouring of too much awareness. So imagine a glass being filled with awareness, source, consciousness, God, Allah, whatever we call it, right? and it becomes so aware that it starts to pour over into solidified stuff, right? It's like compressing gas in a gas tank. So when you have a gas tank, if you shake it, you can actually hear gas being liquid because it's so much under pressure. So this is also what happens, right? We have awareness and it's being condensed, and it solidifies as physical matter. So everything you're looking at was once an idea, right? And so these labels you attach yourself to, that was given to you by society and parents and everything, you spend awareness on it, and so you start to create it. You start to write a book about it, right? And that's your story. That's everything. When I ask you, so tell me about you. If you're my client, or just if we are on a call together, you will tell me a story. It will not be about this right here. It will not be about your awareness, your complete fulfillment, your complete abundance, your complete, yeah, lack of lack, right? It will be about everything else, right? You'll tell me all of the story you believe, everything that you have been aware of. So not what you are actually, but what you think you are, based on random, maybe not random, but based on experience. You'll tell me, this is me. This is your story, and this will keep on looping into infinity if you don't change it. If you don't stop one day and say, am I satisfied with the movie I'm living in? Right? Because these labels are not you, and they are actually just the solidification of your awareness. And if you became aware of something new, you would believe it over time. That's simply how belief works. It's just a thought you kept on thinking. Right? So that is what happens when you go bankrupt 5 times, or remarry 5 times, or keep on doubting yourself, or tell yourself a story. That ceiling is yours, the struggle is yours. There's no suffering outside your mind. Okay? So let's go on to the self-writing. Yeah, just a second. So that is why I say that's not your story. But it's also always your story. Because whatever you choose as a story will always be the one you're living. That's why you're not surprised. That's why when you wake up in the morning, everything is as it always is. But the true statement is everything is as you are. Right? You're the representation. You're the internal world that manifests itself. That is manifestation. That is becoming a version of you that experiences a certain life. So it's not your story if you don't want it. Because you're actually this story, just awareness, where nothing can fulfill you objectively, because you are the fulfillment. You're the manifestation you're looking for. So everything you want to manifest, it's to give you a feeling that you think, I cannot have that feeling without that thing. But that thing is just a permission slip. It's just allowing you to feel what you can already feel. And so in a very relevant sense, we have externalized our feelings into these states, as Neville Goddard would call them, and say, but I will have to resolve all of this. I now believe a story. I choose a story that makes it harder for me not to be that story. Right? So it's not your story, it's always your story. I know it might be complex, but hopefully I'm making it very clear. Then let's talk about the self-writing book complex. And it is, so we have you here, right? And you're writing a book, but you're also reading a book. And you started off by reading a book, right? So let's put it down here. Reading. Right? Life experience. Right? And then we will put writing. That to most people, these will be the same. that what you are reading, meaning what you are experiencing in life, will be what you are thinking. So you will look at something, I don't have enough money. You will interpret it as I don't have enough money, I have never enough money. And your mental plane, so the writing, is then coming from you, right? So you're reading, you're interpreting reality, it's going into your mind, right? You have a mental plane that then recreates that, labels it, tells a story, internal dialogue, external dialogue, vibration, visualization. Basically, what do you know to be true? So this out here is totally subjective, right? It is. If we are sitting 4 people in a car and someone cuts us off in traffic, life experience is not the same. Maybe life is the same. Objectively, a person drives in front of us in the story, right? But life experience is then he did it because of this. He enlisted this emotion in me. I feel like this. This is my story around it. I will tell these people when I get home, right? So that's your reading the life. You're reading the book that you have already produced. You didn't start off by doing this. So in when you were a youngster, a kid, a baby, the book you read was maybe you, but also your parents. Everyone was writing a book on your behalf. This is you, this is you, this is the life you should have. So you were just given a book, this is your life and your story. And most people, they don't leave that story. Okay, I'll just keep on reading it. Reading it, accepting it, yes, this is true, writing it again by talking like that, by behaving like that. What this video is about is that this is a very complex situation because we will never stop it. You will simply never stop this Paris wheel, right? By just continuing this loop, by saying, okay, everything that happens always happens. So I deem it, I call it always. Let's put it here. Always. It's always like that. Yeah, but that's always, it always happens to me. I always doubt. I'm always stressed. I always procrastinate. I always, right? So you write it again, and nothing will happen unless it was first written in the book. So you're now writing a book. You are sending out your awareness. You are creating. That's what manifestation is, right? So you are creating with your words, with your knowing, with your entire being. What do I know to be true? And if you want to hear more about the law of knowing, I have other videos talking about the law of knowing. But you're rewriting the reality, not changing your perspective. And your perception is going to be your projection, right? So everything that is right now in your point of view will always be in your point of view. We cannot change that point of view. We can only change where you look. Okay? So this is the self-writing book complex. And a fun thing to do, I've written it down, is to compare this book to the one that you would write, if you could write your own story. And I would actually encourage you to start off by writing a page of your current story consciously. And it's because we ignore automatic life. Everything that just happens, we ignore it because we don't want to face it. We don't want to take on responsibility of, but I have a say in this. Because if I have a say and I don't like my reality, and if I'm creating that bad reality, I'm to blame and I don't want to feel blame. Right? So it's automatic. So, but try this exercise, consciously creating it by writing down, okay, so today when I go into traffic, I would like someone to cut me off, and then I would like to yell at them, and I would like to be angry, and I would like to tell my partner about it. Right? That is just a specific example. Just extrapolate it to whatever you are doing and thinking every day. If you are procrastinating, write it down. This won't hurt you. It will really crystallize and illuminate your brain for the first time maybe, where you think, oh, yes, this is me. And now I'm taking responsibility for my creation. Right. So write it down. Okay, today I'm going to work. I'm likely going to procrastinate, and I think I have big dreams, but I will sabotage myself by telling myself that I'm not good enough. And then I would like to. I think actually add I would like to in the story, right? And don't go in the comments saying, "Will this not recreate more of what I don't want?" But you're already doing it, just not consciously. So doing it one more time and then being done with it won't hurt you because you're doing it every day. So take your story, write it down, and and write it like I would like. So you recognize I'm choosing this behavior myself. Okay? Then obviously I would like you to write the new book. How are we doing time wise? We're doing perfectly. 16 minutes. The last step, right? Writing the book. I know this is a huge, one big analogy of how to manifest your desired reality. But I'm huge on this, and I'm really going into this, and I'll be doing it in all my videos on that you are always manifesting a version of you, because it has become this industry standard that you can manifest money or cars or whatever you want, when in reality that thing is waiting for you to be the one having it. You're not waiting for it. It's waiting for you to change. You're manifesting a version of you that simply allow within with your actions, with your vibrations. To awareness, there's no timeline. You have everything you want, everything you can possibly dream of. It can be yours if you choose it, if you know it to be true. But you need to write that book where that happens. And right now you're writing another book, believing another story. So flip the switch. Right? And maybe I sound serious, but I am serious. Flip the switch. So this is how to write the book, and then we are done with this. Okay? Realize that you are always writing a book. That's first step to writing the book is actually silence the old writer. Retire him. Retire him, her, it, or whatever, right? Silence the old writer. You cannot write a new book if the old writer is also still writing a book. And this is exactly what happens when you try to employ methods. The banana method, the 369 method, whatever, scripting method, visualization method. You are writing on top of already writing. So it's just this mixture of life story being manifested. It's always your story that manifests, right? Write that down. Your story manifests. My story manifests. So you're employing a trick on reality that will work for a while, because more of the words in the book that you are writing will be in alignment with what you want. But the minute you stop doing that exercise, it falls back to your automatic program, your self-concept, your identity writing the book. So we need to silence the old writer. And silence is good because silence is you. Your awareness holds nothing until you fill it with something. So you're the silence. So when you listen to me right now, notice that there's this silence in between. And you actually filled your silence with me saying words because I moved my mouth, right? You're in control of this awareness, even though you might not feel like it. But every time you fill your silence, your awareness, with words, story, everything, you're writing a book. And you cannot hear if you keep on talking. Right? Same with a good friend of yours. Listen. So this starts off by going to the silence. When you want to write a book, you'll first have to realize, what book am I currently writing? And I can just listen to my thoughts around money, around relationships. I can write it down. I can record myself for an entire day. And then I'll go into the silence. And in that silence, I can start writing. But I will practice finding that silence every day. And that's what you're doing in meditation. You can use my meditation on the channel if you want to. I think it's also in the description. And soon there will be more meditations. I know I've been saying that, but soon there will be. Then I want you, after that silence, I want you to actually write down the book. So I want you to act as if you are making a book. Oh, that went crazy. So I want you to plan the book. Right. Maybe give it an outline. So give it a few headings. Before you go on creating it, write it down, script it out. I call it future scripting in my program, right? Script it out. Script your future. Plan it as if it was a book. What is then going to happen? What is then going to happen? What am I going to experience? What would I like? What are the main factors that I'm including in my book that is important to me? And realize when you're planning this book, oh my God, I'm leaving so much out that is currently in my life. I'm not including procrastination. I'm not including doubt. I'm not including I can only charge this much in my industry. I'm not including January as a bad month for my industry. Or whatever it is, right? I'm not including it. When I'm planning my book, I'm not including it. And that should tell you something. You're writing a totally new book, right? And then I want you to play with you. And that means character development, right? Who are you? I call it a house of faith. You've heard me say that before, maybe here on the channel. Build who you are. Build your self-concept. From when we started this video, you recognized, okay, I'm not who I think I am. I've just attached myself to different labels that everyone else have given to me. And now I'm choosing, and I can actually choose everything. If my parents told me that I was a prince of Ethiopia and I was very rich, I would believe it, right? Like I have believed any story that was told to me up until the age of 6 or 7. And now I'm starting to do the same thing again, right? I am building a new character in my own book. This is who I am. I'm telling myself this is who I am. And by telling myself this is who I am actually that in that moment. True awareness, nothing else is needed. You can then jump to a next thought telling you that you are not it. But you can spend time in silence, repeat to yourself, I'm rich. And recognize to awareness, it doesn't mean anything. It's not important. It's not important. Awareness could not care less, could not care more. It just listens to what you're telling it. So make this character about you. Build a house of faith where you write down the 5 or 10 characteristics that you are choosing to be. Not who you think you are, not what you have always thought you were, not who your parents tells you every time you meet that you are. No, but who are you choosing to be? Because that is the game of writing your life. Who are you choosing to be? And then when you write that book, can I see it? Can I see that book in my mind's eye? Visualization. We're going to talk about that in the next video, right? Can I talk like that? So, and we are going to talk about that in a few videos, but this is a movie. So the book you're writing is becoming a movie, right? You're so lucky. Hollywood just accepted your book. Now they're going to create a whole big movie around it. and you get a script. Hey, you're actually the main character. And you're quite surprised because you were always also the instructor and also the one creating the script. But now you're also the main character. Wonderful. And you will then rehearse the dialogue. It's on a piece of paper. So you create a piece of paper with your dialogue. What is my dialogue like, internally, externally, about my character? So if I'm very concerned about money in my character, what is the dialogue of a person not concerned about it? Extrapolate this to anything you want. Right? Hopefully you can do that yourself. So can I talk like that? Can I see it? Can I see the movie before it has been made? If I take my book, make it into a movie, do I know the script? Can I see it? Can I talk like it? And when the director, which is also you, says action, can I act like it? Right? Can I act like it? Will you then, in this scene, which is actually the middle ground, when scripture says, I'm the Alpha and the Omega, I'm the beginning and the end, that actually means is that you have to take care of the beginning. I am what? You have to take care of the end. Where am I going? What is my desire? And then the middle is just physical life experience. And actually, the beginning and the end will tell you what to do in the middle. Ideas will start coming to you. You keep this intact at all moments. You know the movie, you know what to do, and then the director, which is also you, or God, or awareness, whatever you, depending on your frame of reference, you are walking in this movie, which is your life. And your thoughts is like the director yelling at you. Try doing this, try doing that, right? And you then act like it. And you keep in that state, you keep in that story, and ideas will just start flowing to you. So that is how awareness goes, is that awareness knows what should be in your movie to have that ending. And now the camera turned off. Well, I guess that's the end of this recording. Let's see if we can make it work again, just before we close off. We could. Okay. I have nothing more to say, I think. Can you act like it? Stay continued. Because in the next video, we'll talk about visualization. Then we'll talk about how to create it with your words. And then we'll just continue creating life as we want it. All right? Sounds good? Perfect. Get out of here. Bye.